Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening. It's a Sunday, and that can only mean one thing. The doubleheader of Weekend Warriors here on Apex Racing TV. Kicking things off as always with the Formula Fords. After a trip from Norway last week, we head to the UK this week at the notorious Oulton Park circuit. One of the bits of free content to the iRacing circuit and a real staple of many a series. I'm Tim Cox, we've got Smoothly Kume, the virtual production trailer. As always, I'm joined by Charles Bashal. Charles, welcome along. I mean, Skogan, well, sort of what we expected, but still filled with drama as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Rutskogan is a fairly new track, but there was a lot of good racing on there, and so we ended up with some, like you said, little drama, but otherwise it was a really fantastic race, and so I expect nothing less today. Oulton Park, is one of my favorite circuits as well. It's just a fun car. It's a fun track to drive.
It is. It's without any bias. It is an absolute classic. And just a reminder of what happened last week. Let's take a look at the championship standings, which obviously emulate the results from last week. It was Jason Green taking victory. Christian Kabanka, one to watch out for this season. A newcomer to the Weekend Warriors in the Formula Fords, and wonder how he's going to progress as the season carries on. Megan Overstreet, third, continuing on her rich vein of podium finishes. Michael McConnell on his debut after being promoted up to S1 from S2, finished fourth, and then we had Zerbs in fifth. He'll be disappointed by that one by his own standards. Renders, Jefferson Calvalli, and Ball running out your top 10 there. Into Spec 2 now, and it was Benjamin Harris on his debut, picking up the class victory. Tim Staino, only 3 points behind though, in second place, Jess Saunders, and then we've got Bottas, Stevens, Palmer, and Montgomery, all points finishes there. I'll have a look across into Masters now. Antonio Race winning there. Now, well, it wasn't without short of drama, Masters, that's for sure. With Yogmani in the end, a real turbulent race for him. He picked up third. Alan Degassis in second, just there. But Andrew Love, fourth even. Coffee, Murakami, well done by his own standards. Walbolt, Laurie, Brewster, and John Toms rounding out the top 10 there. But across into this evening, and squeaky chair aside, qualifying, as always, well underway. And it's one Yogmani topping the timing sheets right now, isn't it? Charles, I mean, no, we've used to see him up the front, but long time since we've seen him in a pole position since being in Masters.
Yeah, really, I don't recall the last time I've seen him in pole. They've been doing this series for a couple, 3 seasons now, and as we see some avoidance here, as people just kind of litter all over the track. So yeah, we normally see him up front, and he, to get a podium last week was a pretty big accomplishment because he had a couple of issues during the race and really had to kind of charge from the back in order to get back up to P3 for the class.
Tight as ever, though, up the front in qualifying with Green. And he, well, just under half a tenth behind him. Kabanka within a tenth, like 800 of a second to be precise, off Marnie's pole position time. Then Antonio Race just cut a little bit of drift right now. Just shy 4 tenths behind him on the second row provisionally. Then McConnell, I'll tell you what, this is within Spec 2 and being promoted up to Spec 1. He's really ripping things up, and great to see him potentially looking like he's going to qualify on the third row of the grid. Still one to watch out for. The Gassius really improved, currently lining in 6th. So having a little look down through the order of names out of place. And, well, there's your top qualifier in briefly. So Philip Fernandez in Spec 2. Megan Overstreet well out of position by her standards. In 11th at the moment, row 6. Jim Brewster, of course, grabbed those 2 podium top 3 places in the championships, both in the SRF that we'll see later on. We'll be live from Phillip Island for that one, coming up in around about an hour and a half's time here on Apex Racing TV. And of course, picked up top 3 finishing Masters in the Formula 4s too, as we've got more times coming in. Overstreet improvements, likewise to Gases as well. That's staying a little bit down on his standards, and similar boot with Michael Nelson down in 20th at the moment, yet to set times. Jeff Saunders, although he hasn't taken to the track, and Jesse Bottas, interestingly, Charles, 5 laps so far, and all 5 of them have been deleted.
Yeah, as we see him, he's over in the grass there, coming out of the chicane. This is, we haven't talked really about the circuit yet, but this is the full international layout. Both chicanes being used, and they're very tricky. They're very tight chicanes, especially the first one. You really have to work to get the car around it and to get a good exit to get down the straightaway that we're seeing on the screen now. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, obviously if Bottas is struggling and just struggling to settle lap, it might be a bad race for him. I'm just kind of thinking out loud there.
Wow. Man, he's thinking out loud, really. Really struggling to get to grips with this track. But it is notorious, isn't it, for a couple of pesky off tracks. Let's just watch John Toms. This, for me, is the worst one of the lot. You've run a little bit wide, and as soon as that sort of concrete rubble strip patch ends, a bit of curving on the outside, you pick up an off track for it.
Yep,
and it's so easy to clip it. I mean, I've clipped it many a times.
Yeah, absolutely. This track is, these cars are momentum cars. Everything you do is to try and to maximize your momentum, keep the car as much speed in the car as you can. And this track has a couple of corners that are very tricky to get the timing right on. And let's go up to my little track map here and take a look. And it's generally on the back half. So Lodge Corner, in particular Druids as well, is you need to carry as much speed as you can through there because they take you on the straightaways of a pretty good distance. But then you also need to make sure that if you get wide, you can run into problems. Now, obviously, we talked about this last week with the off-track friction modeling. So I wonder if that maybe will help some of these cars recover if they manage to get off in the grass, if they can recover the car a little easier.
That's a really good point, isn't it? Equally as well, it's going to slow them up a lot more than what they would have done previously. For those drivers that would have pushed those boundaries and used a bit of that grass and, like you say, to carry that momentum through the corner. now there, it's going to be like applying a bit of a brake to him as Stevie Ray just heads up into 12th there. And yeah, it could be fascinating to see. As you say, Lodge Corner, really, really treacherous. I mean, realistically, it's the final corner on the circuit. Well, technically, it's not. That's D Elite, that sort of left-hand kink as you just run towards the start-finish line. But it's that camber, isn't it? And that bit of a crest of a hill, just midpoint, and so easy, especially on cold tires near the start of the race, to lose the rear end.
Yeah, really is. Everything about that corner is saying, okay, I want to make your tires lose as much grip as they possibly can. You know, like you said, you know, elevation changes, camber changes in the track, and then it's you know, it's 90 degree. It's a 90-degree corner. It's actually a little more than 90-degree corner. And then it just kind of gets tighter and tighter as you go because you're trying to get over for that kink that you said, dear leap. So it's just everything about it just, you know, screams I'm going to end up against the wall if I'm not careful.
It's going to be definitely one to watch out for here. Just heading into the closing stages of qualifying now, though. Not really improving too much out there. So we see Busco head across the line. No real improvement from JJ. The Dutchman remaining down in 22nd. Kabanka setting a purple sector 2. Interestingly, there's a lot of yellows in there. However, what we don't know, Charles, do we, is just how much slower than his previous best that he's gone. If it's marginal and there's enough made up in that first sector, then it could be enough with a green final sector, but it's good enough for pole. 6 thousandths a second.
Yeah, it says, you know, when you're looking at sector times, it's kind of tricky because, yeah, he obviously, that second sector was he was on a rail, and the, you know, the yellow ones, you know, it was milliseconds lost. So he was right on the edge of his fast times in the sectors for every sector there.
Well, I can tell you, Charles, he started the next lap in a rich vein with going purple in sector 1. So is Philip Fernandez too, all the way down in 9th. So that's another driver to watch out for. Currently highest qualifier in Spec 2 right now is the American. 317 machines coming around to close out the lap. Is it going to be good enough to see him rise up through the standings? Tim Steno goes 12th in the closing stages. Fernandez, is it an improvement? No, it's not. Despite that purple sector, he remains 9th. Not too many drivers out there improving at all. Tom Lorry, he's on a good lap right now, down in 18th. Expect to see him. Of course, recent ride hide in Spec 2. The drivers have been promoted due to having a birthday in St. Masters. As he comes across the line, is it going to be any improvement for him? Improvement in time, but not in position. 145 dead for him. As Kabanka's absolutely flying right now, Charles. Look at that. Greens, purples. It's all looking good here to go even faster. As he runs towards the line. What's it going to be? Is it going to be a big improvement? No. Nothing. He must have picked up an off track or had an absolute disastrous final sector. But he's on pole anyway. There we go.
There we go. Good enough.
It doesn't matter. It didn't matter in the end, did it, really? Because he's remained on pole as last few drivers coming across the line. Now checking flag fully out, and we'll just wait now to transition across into the race session. We'll also bring you up the results very, very shortly in around about 40 seconds time, and I'll just have a bit of a look ahead of what we've got coming up for you this season. VIR next week, Charles. A tricky circuit, but we're doing the full layout as well, so that could be entertaining.
That could be entertaining. It is a very tricky circuit. It's I mean, it's I can't count how many corners it is, but it's a very long circuit. Lots and lots of cornering, or S's, medium speed, high speed corners, couple of sharp tight turns, especially when you get over by where where Oak Tree was, still Oak Tree corner. And then you got a couple really long straightaways that goes into some massive elevation changes. And so that's going to be a fun race to watch and to call. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that for sure.
I am as well. It's going to be a fascinating one. But back to tonight. Here's the grid for this evening. Kabanka on pole with Yorgmani alongside him on the front row. Row 2 sees Jason Green, Antonio Race line up alongside another with an all-spec 1 row in the form of Overstreet and McConnell making up row 3. Row 4 is Degasius and Murakami, an all-Masters row. Then it's an all-Spec 2 row with Fernandez and Montgomery. Josh Jacobson and Tim Stainer make up row 6, while row 7 is Paul Stevens and Stevie Ray. Jim Brewster has Wayne Palmer for company next to him. Then row 9 sees Kian Palmer alongside Tom Laurie. Sander Verbruge and Michael Nelson round out your top 20 in row 10 of the grid, while row 11 is Anne Bradshaw and John Toms. JJ Bosgood has Joshua Soto for company, who didn't settle time in qualifying. Neither did Jeff Saunders, Benjamin Harris, or Jesse Bottas, who we saw really struggling to get to grips with it. But watch out for Josh Soto coming from the back. That's definitely going to be someone to keep an eye out for certain. And we're just lining up behind the Porsche 911 safety car. But let's have mentioned to our sponsor for this series, PDA, or Precision Driving Analytics. Give them their full name. Now, they're owner of Ray Phillips. There's over 30 years of experience in motorsport and race both open wheels for most of his time during that. He's now found a new passion, helping others go faster and perfect their craft. They can fulfill a role of data and race engineer and also as a driver coach, while helping others get the most out of data and video systems. Now, Ray was a data engineer and driver coach for a 2019 championship-winning Ferrari Challenge team, assisting multiple drivers on said team. Now, they also sell a wide range of data and video equipment, help everyone from a high-performance driver education driver to a professional driver. That's all dear. We've all gone a little bit wrong here. I clearly need a bit of time with Ray Phillips to help themselves go faster whilst we're staying within the limits on track. You find out more about PDA by heading to PrecisionDrivingAnalytics.com. But that's where they're shaking things up a little bit. Murakami and Bradshaw, the big losers out of that one as we get ready to go racing for the second time this evening, as we are green and we are away. There's people peeling off into the pits already before we've even taken the green flag. It's Kabanka leading the way. Then Green just slipping past Marnie into turn 1. Likewise, Overstreet slipping past Race right now. Shuffling around in the midfield too as we head down through Cascade for the first time this evening. Overstreet just running a little bit wide there, so we're still 2 by 2. Tom Laurie, great start from him at 4. I said to watch out for Josh Soto, he's at 5. So is John Toms, the Canadian. Absolutely flying here, but Murakami down to the back, Verbruge into the pits, and Bradshaw as well as, he's heat praise on someone. And then poor John Toms. Yes, the commentator being struck on him. That's Michael Nelson as well, the Dane, involved in that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, just a little quick note. I think actually Murakami started from pits, maybe had trouble, maybe lost a connection, had to come back in. So it was Bradshaw and Verbruge, I think, with that opening, the short pace lap coming up to the start. But yeah, Islands is one of those, little island bend is, especially on cold tires, you have a tendency to kind of run wide through there. And I'm sure it's just, you try and go 2 by 2 through there, and it's more often than not going to be a problem.
Yes, we now head down through Druids, down towards one of the most treacherous parts of the circuit. Down towards Lodge Corner, hard onto the brakes. Great overtaking opportunity this. Late in the lap, definitely going to see it later on be a really, really poignant corner as Race just slipping past Overstreet there. She must be one of the drivers got a really poor exit out of the corner because they've lost quite a bit of time to Kabanka, Green and Marnie, who opened up, a good second gap over this best of the rest peloton pack that stretches all the way back to Tom Laurie down in, 14th overall. He is.
Yeah, I think that's what we were kind of talking about earlier. I think Overstreet just got wide coming out of Lodge, and she was able to catch the car. Sometimes, before, I think before the update, you couldn't really do that, where you had to be a pretty masterful driver in order to make that happen. And just like I said, I think it just slowed her down, so she had to just kind of build the momentum back up. Lost a couple of positions. Well, it's leave one to race, so yeah, it's a good start for the front five.
Definitely a solid start for them in these early stages. We head through Britain's chicane. Sorry, apologies. Hislop's getting chicane's mixed up there. Of course, named after British superbike rider Steve Hislop. Through past Water Tower, Clay Hill. What's Driscoll on this tight, tricky, single line, double right-hander. Just have to hold on for dear life, and nobody wanted to give each other an inch, and then we run down towards Lodge Corner. So everyone made it through pretty cleanly last time. Overstreet, you can see in the middle of that three-car pack there of Race and McConnell either side of her right now. Making it through. As DFE sending something to Tom's further woes on him, and that's down at Hislops, and well, it doesn't look like he's clipped the tyre barriers, which are rock solid in iRacing. They're impenetrable.
They are indeed. Yeah, these tire barriers don't really give. They just kind of exist. They're the immovable objects on the track. And so if you hit one, you've really done damage to your car. Yeah, I think. As we see a car around.
Wow, it's Jesse Bottas there making contact, and well, Jeff Saunders sort of took evasive action and carried around down through the Foster's circuit to avoid it all happening in front of him. He's lost a whole heap of time in a couple of places because of it, but getting going again once more.
That was a very weird place to be parked. I'm just, with Buzgo, and I'm sorry, I'm butchering his name, I'm sure. It's just kind of a weird place to be sitting for the traffic coming in. So I thought that was kind of strange.
Yeah, because if it's a sort of midpoint of Cascades or even on the exit, we've seen many an accident there or incident, people just losing the rear through there many a time. So it's what you come to expect, but that's more on the entrance, which, yes, it's a bit of a slalom down through the avenue in Denton's, but a bit of a weird place nonetheless, as there is Ray heading past Tim Staino. Those two both making progress. Ray now inside the top 10. Only fourth in Masters. Masters being led by Marnie, of course, who's second overall. Race, he's fourth, and then Andegasius running out the podium in that category. Spec 1, of course, Kabanka, Green, and then Overstreet, who, despite being on the podium in class, is lying 5th overall right now, but does have Michael McConnell on her heels. So Spec 2, Montgomery up a couple of places. He's into 8th now. Philip Fernandez started in 9th, remains in 9th, but now down to 2nd in class. And Tim Staino rounding out the podium in Spec 2. Just on board with Jeff Jacobson right now. Jim Brewster in front of us as we head through to Shell Oils. And
I love this corner.
You can take a few lines on entry into it, can't you? It does open up a few options.
Yeah, it's just that it's a lot of banking, so it's a lot faster corner than most people think it is the first time they get out here and race it. You can just carry so much speed and let the banking help you work your way around. And yeah, there's multiple entries, multiple exits, and you can generally go a couple cars wide through there, and in relative safety.
It reminds me a lot of Turn 2 unofficially, but technically it's officially Turn 3 at Zandvoort.
Yep.
Of course, now they've put all that additional banking to it. We've got obviously the updated version on iRacing now as well. It just really reminds me of that corner. It's sort of slow speed, but like you say, you carry so much momentum and so much speed through it due to the degree of banking through those corners.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you just that banking just helps the car change directions and still maintain its forward momentum without you're not scrubbing speed off the tires. You're letting gravity give you a little assist there, and it's like I said, it's just a fun little corner to be driving. Notice we got
So,
just kind of in groups now, so we're like in twos and threes as opposed to one big train.
we have everyone's pretty much, yeah, like you say, it's just separated out into little clusters. However, what I can tell you is Crystal Cabanca has opened up a 1.5 second lead at the front of the pack. Well, happy with that, well, second place, finishing behind Jason Green. Those two, of course, a week ago at Ruskogan just cleared off into the distance, and it was only really their battling that just allowed the chasing pack to maintain a gap and maybe close it up a little bit. They really were in a league of their own, but Cabanca just heading off into the distance and leaving Marnie and Green, and they've actually dropped back a bit, and they're being reeled into the clutches of Race & Co, aren't they?
They really are. Yeah, it's I will say this, just based on, that we've talked to these drivers, I can guarantee you Monty's not saving fuel, and Green probably is. So that might be, so that just means that Cabanca's just he's just lighting the timing board up. He's just running all out, and he's setting really good laps. And Monty's just struggling to keep up with, because I know Monty, he's said many times, I don't fuel save, I just go. And then Green obviously is kind of the master of the fuel and pit strategy, and so he's always kind of got that ace in the hole for the second half of the race.
Action further down through the field there. Jeff Jacobson is getting involved with Tim Staino in front of him. Brewster is ahead of these guys. Before you're looking at his mirrors, rubbing his hand with glee at them battling out, just alleviates the pressure ring, while Tom Laurie in the background acting like the sweeper, trying to pick up some scraps here. And one of them just getting things wrong, and he may well do it here because Staino's slow out of Cascades. As we head down alongside through Island Bend, and they try to make it too wide, and well, there you go, Charles, just able to hold on to it thanks to that new grass model in physics.
Yeah, absolutely. That was exactly what that was. He just dropped the right rear off into the grass a little bit, but was able to recover the car. The grass actually doing its job, and providing a little extra friction, and so he's able to collect it back up, and he can go back and charge forward again.
About charging forward right now. Harris trying to get up the inside. It's all getting a little bit loose, a bit leery there for Harris, but Palmer through. And Stevens, well, feeling like the cork in the bottle right now against these two as they scrap it out over who wants to have a go at Stevens, who's just left like a sitting duck there in that 210 car.
Yeah, it really is. I think Harris just found out that, the car's more stable over in the grass, but doesn't necessarily mean it's faster. So he was fully to the left side, looked like he had two wheels off there a couple of times before the chicane, and just, kind of disrupted his momentum a little bit.
Some more action, plenty from this group. Palmer there just getting his way past Stevens, and now Harris looking to inflict more damage onto Paul Stevens. That's done right around the outside there on the entrance into Cascades. Lovely little move.
Yeah, it was a good move. I think Stevens has kind of realized these guys were faster than him. He's just, okay, let me just kind of give them a little bit of room here and let them go around, and I'll chase them from the back, and we'll see if I can get a little more speed out of this car.
Just over 1/4 race distance. Cabanca extending his lead out the front to 2 seconds now. Oh, we've got Green. So Marnie, then Green, and they're fully now absorbed into the battle with Race, Overstreet, and McConnell not too far behind either. Just seeing Josh Soto there. They get more places. He's at 10 spots. I've decided 24th, up to 14th. And there's a big gaggle in front of him with Ray, Brewster, Jacobson, and Laurie for him to get his teeth stuck into.
Yeah, he's having a great run. He's just flicking them off one at a time as soon as he gets to them. Like I said, 10 spots already. Obviously, with it being a Spec 1 guy starting in the back, you kind of knew he was going to be able to make some moves. But he's done it. He's done it safely. So yeah, it's game on for him. As you said, he's got a nice big group in front. You know, hopefully give him a little bit of a toe on these straightaways, and he can just make up more time and make more passes.
So, well, these three will not leave each other alone. Paul Stevens was the ball. Was he just
there's a little spin. Yep.
Well, I thought he was the cork in the bottle. It appears definitely not to be. Well, now he's out of that battle as well. They're side by side, still scrapping with another. Palmer and Harris.
Take 2 through islands.
Oh, I mean, this is brave. If you want to go side by side through there, it's not the corner to be doing it. And well,
yeah, I think
overlapping a bit.
Yeah, overlapping a bit. I think that was a smart move on Palmer on the inside. I think he may have just lifted a little bit, realizing that probably wasn't. This is probably not the right time to be battling 2 wide through islands.
I mean, we've still got plenty of racing left to do. 25 minutes, well, it's 26 minutes and a half, actually, to be precise. It's on board with Wayne Palmer. It's Harris in front of us. So, well, incredibly close, far closer than I dare get to those tyre barriers. Especially in the cars like these, exposed suspension, any of the Formula cars, you hit those tyres, that's it, it's game over.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these cars can't handle a lot of contact anyway, and like we talked about earlier, those are just, it might as well be concrete blocks sitting there. So I got a question for you, Tim. We'll switch this up a little bit. So who's the first car we normally see in the pits?
That would be Stevie Ray. As if by magic, there he is. But Jeff Jacobson, interestingly, he's normally one of the later stoppers.
In Stevie, I didn't see him coming in. So that was actually, I was going to say, when will he come in? Because he was running P10. So he was having a really good run through the field. And so I was wondering if that was going to change his strategy, but apparently not.
Apparently not, indeed. And, well, there he is. He's going to get back out in front of Jacobson. Will those two work together to come back through the field? Remains to be seen. They're going to come out behind Michael Nelson, who's coming in 20th. So they're going to about 22nd, respectively. They're going to clear out in front of them, actually. About 3 1/4 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Try and make a bit of time. So this could work for them. Yeah, it's very rare we see with even the Formula Fords or the SRFs, people come out after the pit stop into fresh air.
Yeah, indeed, yes. A lot of times you're gonna, if you come in early, you're gonna be in the middle of a few people who were already fighting for a position. And what's that? Stano off the track. Like he dropped a couple of spots, but they've got some clean air, so they can run some good pace. Get a couple of good laps in, maybe make the undercut work out for them.
And, it feels only like a couple of minutes ago I said that Josh Soto was up 10 places into 14th, while he's now 14 places into 10th. Obviously being aided and abetted by Stevie Ray and Jeff Jacobson heading into the pits, but still, that's still an extra 2 places, and he's cleared that group that he was coming up to. So Brewster and Laurie dispatched them with precision of a brain surgeon to get it into 10th. And wow, you can see just how close this lot's getting, aren't they? Overstreet has swapped around though with Antonio and Race.
Yeah, she's managed to get back by him, and so now we've got this big group of 4. Cabanca's still just out front, 2.5 seconds, and these 4 are just going to sit here and maybe stay in line, see if they can work together to make up some of the gap up front. Or maybe they're just going to battle. So I think it's early. I think these drivers are usually running toward the front anyway. I think they're smart enough to realize that we probably just want to stay in line here for a bit longer, and we'll worry about the battles toward the end of the race.
Or will they? You never quite know, do you?
Yeah,
when
you don't.
When we think it's going to be like that, then all of a sudden it all kicks off and. That's a big one from Keane Palmer.
Yeah, Michael Nelson also involved in that. And that's that tire barrier between islands and shell oils that basically you get wide through islands and you're just, just that tire barrier just gets bigger and bigger till you're on it. Oh, it caught the inside curb, spun, then came back across. Oh,
Well, so there were two cars there.
yeah, one's
Michael
on one side
Nelson.
of the barrier and one's on the other.
Do you know what? I got mixed up then. So it was Michael Nelson's car that I saw going skyward. I didn't see Palmer tucked behind the barrier
Right, yeah. He just,
on initial inspection.
right, yeah, just kind of jumped Palmer and the barrier and ended up on the opposite side of the tire wall.
I mean, there is a jump here where
There
you
is.
come out of Cascades, but if you don't really come out, you sort of just don't turn fully forward and you can launch yourself across the straightaway that is Hilltop on the opposite side.
Well, you say that, but there's a jump at Bathurst also, and you can't do it anymore because of the new friction models. As far as I know, there's no car on iRacing that can make that jump at Bathurst anymore. The gravel just slows your car down to a point that you have no speed when you get to the jump itself.
That just sounds like a challenge.
It does, and hey, if you're listening, go out and try it for yourself. Of course, now you have to get around the track, which is what I always struggle with, to get to the jump because you have to go up the mountain and down the mountain to get there. But yeah, go try it. I'd like to see somebody make it work.
I'm just mulling over in my head what cars you potentially do it in. Maybe the trucks.
Maybe the trucks. That might be the only exception to that.
Rallycross cars.
Right.
But even then, I'm not sure they've got enough gearing in them. And wow, okay, that's guess what I'm up to this weekend. Certainly after this evening. In terms of high position climbers, Benjamin Harris now 13 spots into 13th. Just off camera, Laurie's made his way past Brewster. He's in front of these. And there's one lesser spotted Murakami there, which you mentioned heading into the pits early on. Well, these two not giving up on one another, are they? As they head through Cascades, Laurie finally getting past Brewster after heading back and forth between one another over the course of the last couple of corners. Finally, the 926 ahead of the 933. They head down towards Shell Oils. A gap extending further up front for Kabanka, 9.7 seconds. So stick this battle of Murakami trying to find his way past Benjamin Harris just in front of us.
Yeah, Murakami's had a good run. Obviously, like I said, I think he pit started. Maybe has some connections issues right as the race was kicking off. But yeah, he's worked his way back up. He's back up to 14th.
I'm reading through the text chat right now, and lovely little move up there inside there. Beautifully done from Murakami to get past Harris. Palmer now up onto the back of these two. And yeah, I think some issue with his direct drive, and then hit the wrong button, and they all not the start that you would have hoped for. That's one thing we can definitely agree on.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, over halfway through this race.
Yeah, so interestingly, Green has dropped down to 4th. He's a second behind Overstreet, who's up to 3rd. Monty's in 2nd. And then Race is right there with Green. So I'm kind of wondering, I think he was running 2nd at one point in time, I believe. So I'm kind of wondering what may have happened with him.
Well, Overstreet set the fastest lap of the race last time around. That had part of it, I think. But as we've seen from Jason Green, he's not really too fussed in this opening half because he's fuel saving so much. He's just trying to carry that momentum. He knows that, we've seen him gain 3 seconds in a pit stop. That pretty much just eliminates the gap between himself and Kabanka.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he absolutely does that, and that's just kind of what we expect from Green. So he's not too fussed about trying to be up at the, leading the pack because he knows that he can sit back and he can fuel save even more when he's back in traffic. So it just works to his advantage.
Yeah, really feathering the throttle there, trying to just steer it on the throttle almost as he headed through Druids. It's really ambitious for me with those downshifts. You hear the car just like screaming out in displeasure as he drops through the gear to reapply some of that engine braking to slow the car up. And last time around, those two in front of him, of Marnie and Overstreet, 3/10 quicker.
Yeah, and you could tell he's not really pushing the car. He's basically just rolling the corners, downshifting, use engine braking, and just kind of slow rolling everything. So he's obviously maximizing that fuel by doing that. He's not hard on the brakes, then hard on the throttle.
We've got Fernandez and Palmer into the pit lane, both respective drivers. So that's good. Although the JJ has been in the pits for quite a while now, so that's looking like a retirement. Also retirements. Lap 9, we lost Nelson and Palmer. We saw that big incident involving them and Bradshaw. That's through the towel realistically on lap 6. One of the drivers caught up in that formation lap incident that we had. So remain on board with Overstreet. There's a bit of traffic in front of them. And that is going to be Jeff Saunders.
We're coming up on some lap traffic here.
See, Cabanca's already cleared them. So this could play into Cabanca's hands here because they're going to catch up with Saunders, I would guess, round about somewhere between Old Hall, which is turn 1, and Cascades, that left-hander, before you head out down Lakeside, which could cost them quite a bit of time. Oh, Jason Green into the pits. That's incredibly early.
It is early for him. He's usually one of the kind of the last guys to jump. We'll see. At least we can get a good idea of what his pit stop time is going to be here, and then it gives us a chance to kind of compare and contrast against the rest of the cars as they come in.
That's Montgomery in from the lead of Spec 2. Harris is not going to take that, although he's yet to stop. Is Green on pit exit already, Charles?
He is. That was 15.7 stopped.
The next closest is 17.2, which was Wayne Palmer. So that's 1.9 seconds faster.
Yeah. So
in the pit box.
Yeah, so obviously as the fuel burns off for the rest of the front runners, they won't have to stop as long, but it'll be interesting to see how close it is, because obviously he's probably not taking as much fuel as the rest of them is kind of the way that normally works. So we'll see how that time works out against the rest of these up front here with Cabanca and the race.
Wow, and as you say in that order, Charles, that was Overstreet making her way past Marnie. Lovely little move, and just finally catching up with Saunders. He's going to move across to driver's right and just slow right up. There's Santa Bruges getting going. Has he had a bit of an incident? Yes, he has come off track. But Overstreet taking charge of this one as Cabanca extending that lead further. Look at that, 3.8 seconds near us, damn it, over these two. Well, Overstreet saying, well, I need to get something done here because otherwise he's going to be even further in front.
Yeah, I think that's Megan just said, okay, I need to get to the front here and lead this train back up. Ooh, she goes wide through Cascades there. Just way off the track. But obviously, like I said, it's grab hold of it and bring it back on and keep driving.
Doto into the pits have made up 15 places. He's chopping that down for the order now, but he's one to watch out for in terms of his pit stop time. Is he going to be? So he's about half a second faster than what Green was. So I'm now wondering, was Green able to fuel save as much as he would have wanted on? Something to change things up a little bit, abandon that and just go hell for leather. Yeah, fill up the tanks and go hell for leather and some fresh air.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe that's a change in his methodology this week. Maybe just figured out that, hey, I can't really do a lot of fuel saving at this track, and I just need to just drive flat out. It's be interesting to find out maybe at the end of the race, what happens. And, but we'll see. Still 13 minutes left in this race.
Still plenty left to go, isn't there? And we'll get to find out, I'm sure, whether it's going to work out in the not too distant future.
Leaders in, Monty's in.
So Overstreet left to do it by herself. Blow her own furrow here. Well, I mean, Kabanka's got this one under control. He can do what he wants with it, but that, nearly 4 seconds advantage he had when they came into the pit lane.
Yeah, he was still extending on that last lap before he came in on Overstreet after she got by Monty.
Still in the pit lane. Oh, it's a slow stop for him. 18.8. Well, that's in comparison to what we saw from Green and Soto. Marnie, half a second faster than Kabanka, but still slow. Here comes Green. And I think we're going to see, well, they're not even going to see York Marnie on our driver's right, because Green is going to come out in front of him. So he's made up a whole heap of time there, well, largely in part due to just that shorter pit stop.
Mm-hmm.
Kabanka's now only 2.2 seconds up the road.
Yeah, so even with the couple extra laps that Kabanka and Monty ran, they were still 2.5 to 3 seconds slower in stoppage time than Green was.
Well, this is all going to work out very nicely for Jason Green. But we still have to factor into the equation that Overstreet, Race and McConnell are all yet to stop.
Yeah,
so they can...
Yeah, they obviously won't have to take as much fuel as the more laps they can run, the less fuel they have to take at their stop. So, the overcut, as we see Overstreet coming, the overcut doesn't really work with these cars for whatever reason. It's either neutral or undercut works. So, never really seen it where you could go wrong unless you just had more pace than everybody, like Marco Panero in the Spec Racer, where he's just a half-second lap faster than everybody else. He can kind of dictate what he wants to do.
Well, Kabanka's had a real dictatorship on this race so far, but Overstreet's on pit exit, Charles, and only just shy of 14 seconds stopped. I think she's going to do this one. She's going to come out in the lead here. But where is Kabanka? Well, there you go, just coming through. So she's made up a whole heap of time. 5 odd seconds, and it's all through pit strategy.
Yeah, that was a very, very quick stop for Overstreet. And, I think that means she's maybe gambling just a little bit on the fuel. But from our talks with Megan, seems like she doesn't really do a lot of gambling. She will fuel save, but I don't think she really tries to undercut herself very much.
Oh, the Monty gone.
Monty around. Yeah, just touched wheels with Green going through Shell Oils, carrying more speed than Green was.
Green keeps going, but Marnie's lost the place to Antonio Race there. And now has Michael McConnell right behind him. So that's now a change. The lead in Masters. This Race ahead of Marnie. Degassi still remains in third. Chris Montgomery is now leading. Yeah, now leading. Incredibly, I'm just looking at how he's managed to achieve that. Absolutely dominating that category. But he's only at one place where he started. Having started 10th, he's now 9th overall. Fernandez has dropped well down. He had a really slow stop, Charles. He's stationary for 6 seconds longer than Montgomery, who had a slow stop at 19 seconds. And Harris, well, he's risen through the order, having started 26th, up to 16th, up 10 places, and up 7 in class as well into 3rd in Spec 2. However, does have Wade Palmer right behind him. He's also in Spec 2. I would love to be on the podium in class at his home track.
Well, for sure. Yeah, you always want to kind of get a good result at your home track. Yeah, Fernandez is kind of stuck behind Stevie Ray right now, who is right behind Brewster. running their 4th and 5th in the Masters class, just outside the top 10. Soto's up to P8. Looks like he's got a chance to get up to 7th to get by DeGassis, but he's got a little bit of work to do, 2 seconds behind. I don't think he's got enough in the tank there to get to P6, but, you know, stranger things have happened.
They have indeed. Oh, they have indeed here in Weekend Warriors. You never quite know, and it's never over until that checkered flag flies.
That is true. See Murakami getting by Fernandez. He's going to close in on 2 Masters class drivers. Ray and Brewster just ahead of them.
I mean, Murakami, that pit lane started really highlighting him and his chances here today. I mean, he would have been one to watch out for it. I'm sure when he'd been fighting DeGassis for that last place on the podium in Masters, languishing down in 7th in class. It's that 6th place is from where he should have started. Should have started 8th, currently in 14th. Not the Oulton Park that he was hoping for. I see Ray being one of the first starters. So Jacobson has actually managed to pass him and also pass Brewster.
Yeah, so Jacobson and Ray came in together in the pits, and I think it took Jacobson 2 or 3 laps to get by Ray, but eventually did. And yeah, they've got up to Brewster, or Brewster's got down to them, and so Jacobs has made that move. I'm sure Ray's probably looking for his way around as well.
Almost certainly. Almost certainly. And it's, in fact, Jacobson is just leading this group right now that involves himself, Brewster, Ray, Murakami, Fernandez, Harris, and Palmer. They are being brought into the equation and forming part of this Venn danger diagram. It could go absolutely any way in this closing stages. Up in front, Overstreet still leading by a 2.5 over Cabanca. Green fallen by the wayside after coming out not too far behind Cabanca. Fortunately for him, they go 3.2 seconds behind, just not on the pace of his countrymen. And, well, they're all spread out apart from that one big battle. And it is a big old battle, isn't it? That's going to go right down to the wire with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, I think that you're right. Yeah, Overstreet basically 2 tenths faster than Cabanca the last lap. Green running even with Overstreet. Race and Monty running identical lap times, so it's not over yet, obviously, because, like I said, we've said how things happen here. Sometimes you can work your way to the front. Sometimes you need a little help and have somebody come back to you, which we've seen a lot. So we see Murakami getting by Ray, move up a spot in the Masters class, and 13th overall.
Oh, wow, I thought it was going to be off there, but side by side, Fernandez and Harris. Palmer just behind. I mean, this is 3 cars, 2 places on the class podium, Charles. That's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, this is, kind of got the Masters group up in front of them, and now you got the Spec 2 group here with Fernandez, Harris, and Palmer duking it out for 2nd and 3rd on the podium.
I mean, Harris is the man in form and, making headway. He's up 10 spots. In fact, going to make that 11th. A slight mistake from Fernandez after a lengthy pit stops. Curtin Badley, who just squeezes back in front. Oh, no. There's contact, and there's 2 gone.
I think all of them are sloped up. I think, Palmer got through, but Harris and obviously Fernandez got together, brought each other around.
Sort of tangled, really, didn't they? Interlocked wheels and suspension. One bump of the wheels
right there. Oh, there's the touch, and then just like maybe some net code, kind of got the cars kind of got hooked together, and basically it was like 2 train cars, essentially, and just one just brought the other around like a truck and trailer, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. One leads and one follows. And then Palmer gets the benefit of those cars spinning, was able to avoid that accident completely. Or maybe not.
Well, maybe not. And he's parking the car, isn't he?
He is.
So he must have had terminal damage for him to be able to do that. After I was about to say, looking like he's going to finish not just third, but second in class at his home race. Wow, now it's basically between Fernandez and Harris of who's going to finish second and third. Meanwhile, 5th, 6th, 7th in Masters is still up for grabs between Brewster, Murakami, and Ray.
Yeah, they're having a good old time in that battle there. You see Murakami just kind of looking to the inside at turn 1. So I know he's watching the clock. So you probably got this lap and one more. As we see Harris come in, so obviously he's got damage also.
I have to wonder how much Philip Fernandez has too. That now means Paul Stevens, a Brit, is going to get onto the podium. Well, in any of the classes, and he's going to do it in Spec 2. And he's someone who's had a really turbulent race. Well, it's still flipping on its head constantly, this.
Yeah, like we said, stranger things happen. And you just saw it. That's a prime example.
It is indeed as Brewster slow off the corner. What's he going to do? Is he going to defend that inside line? Is Murakami going to shoot through? Yes, he is. Brewster's realised, but it's too late. Is Murakami, interestingly, just backing out there? There's a bit of traffic in front of him. And also, I've just seen how far on the clock we are. And is this going to be? Yes, it is. It's going to be white flag. There's Overstreet and Kabanka both wide. Look at that gap. It's dropped down to 3/10.
Yeah, hello. I'm here now. So yeah, so now we've got the last lap battle for the race win here between Overstreet and Kabanka.
Kabanka was 7/10 faster last time around, Charles, and in doing so set the fastest lap of the race as he is pushing Overstreet hard now. Where's he going to make his move? I mean, surely this feels like it's going to be when, not if. It's out of shallows they come for the final time this evening. Heading down towards Britain's not really an overtaking chance through here, but who's got the speed and momentum?
Yeah, he needs a good run out of that chicane and didn't quite get it. Megan got a good run through there to get to the next chicane here.
It seemed like she just slowed up in that section, which killed off the momentum. There, Kabanko just holds on through Hislop's well. He's known as Shaky Hislop, and a bit of a shaky moment there for Kabanka. Holds it together, but yeah, Overstreet through Britain, it seemed like she just slowed up a little bit. And that killed off the momentum of Kabanka, who just has to get into the brace and then prevented him being able to make that attack coming down into Hislop. As the exit Druids just only Lodge corner to go. This is looking like the checker flag is going to Overstreet, who's going to win here in round 2 of the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors from Oulton Park. Kabanka second. Who's going to get third? Well, Jason Green looking good for that one.
There's Soto. Race and Monty are close. Yeah, 2 seconds. Okay, not as close as I thought originally, but yeah. So Race with the Masters class win.
Murakami just getting past Brewster. They're swapping places right now. There's your winner. Well, surely going to be your winner in Spec 2. You never are until you cross the line. Chris Montgomery going to do it in Spec 2. Still keeping half an eye on the timing sheet. See what's happening between. There they are. And Murakami just about going to do it over Brewster, but there's going to be a run to the line, Charles, and Murakami holds out by 0.06 of a second.
Yeah, that was a great battle toward the end of that race between those two and Stevie Ray as well. Obviously, it's short end of the stick there, but those two guys put on a little bit of a show at the end.
Just a little bit of a show. Indeed, there is Harris, who's had a real torrid race. Wow. I thought things were going to calm down, and it was going to sort of peter out the finish here. Yep, got that one wrong, didn't I?
Yeah, not so much.
Good news, though. Paul Stevens did get that podium in Spec 2. Our only Brit to do so. Let's wait for the last class to come across the line. There we go, in the form of Bardas. We'll take you through some Class 5 results here from round 2 in the SRF. So, I'll get my Weekend Warriors. That's coming up later at the SRFs. It's the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors. Well, I can tell you as we wait for it to transition across. There we go. Overstreet winning by half a second over Cabanca. Jason Green running on the podium. Antonio Race and Jorg Marley first and second in Masters, while McConnell finishes in sixth. Legasius running out that podium in Masters, seventh overall. Josh Stoto in the end up 16 spots. A great result for him coming from the back. Rich Montgomery, he was waiting the weeks to have a chat with us. He finished ninth overall, and crucially that victory in Spec 2. There was Tom Laurie, Jacobson, Murakami, Brewster, Ray, Fernandez and Stevens running out the podium in Spec 2 with Harris, Bardas, Tim Stainer, the first cars 1 lap down in 19th, Saunders, Toms, Wayne Palmer 2 laps down the end, then into the retirement. Rabrush left on lap 16, Bosgoed on lap 13, Nelson and Palmer on lap 9, and on Bradshaw on lap 6. Let's have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers then. And first up, our overall winner. Brilliant bit of pit strategy in the end. We thought she might have underfueled, but it worked out okay. In the end, didn't it, Megan Overstreet?
Just barely. I started running out of gas right at the start-finish line.
Time to perfection then. That's how that one worked out. I mean, were you astounded? I mean, just how much time you managed to get over Christian in the pit stops?
I was.
We were.
I was not expecting that because I got up to second place and I think I was 4 seconds behind at that point. So I was pretty surprised once I came out of the pits and I had almost a 2-second lead on him.
I can tell you, Jason Green, who we know is always, putting the minimum amount of fuel in, he was stationary for 15.8 seconds, which was 1.8 seconds longer than what you were at 14. Christian was 18.8, so that's where you made all the time up.
There we go, yep.
There we go. Just looking ahead, of course, we've got Phillip Island coming up in a bit in the SRFs. Any thoughts, chances for that one?
I just hope I do well. I still struggle in the SRF, but one of these days I'll actually get good at that car.
You never know. You never know. No, you have to do yourself a bit of disservice anyway. But either way, your winner here today from Oulton Park, that's Megan Overstreet. Charles, who are you sitting in the wings with?
Oh, we've got our Masters class winner, Antonio Race.
He was not
Antonio.
more than that.
How
Good
are
night.
you?
Hello, guys. Good night,
hey.
everyone.
Hey, class win again, 2 in a row. Had a little interesting battle up front for the first half of the race with amongst the leaders. So talk about your race a little bit.
Resume is like the lucky of one is the unlucky of the others, and then I just get the lucky. Well, I would say lucky because money spun, so I was feeling a little bit sorry for that because he didn't deserve to finish second. But anyway, it is what it is. Well, other than that, it was fun. I was keeping up with the guys, trying to follow them, not making mistakes, and then it paid at the end.
Yeah, so that's as you said, Monty, with his spin, Murakami had like technical issues at the start of the race, had to pit start, so dropped all the way to the back of the field immediately. So that was the good fortune. Bad luck for some people is good fortune for others, right?
Yeah, it was my closest contenders are Chris and Manny, so it would be maybe I would finish third if they could skip up. We never know.
Yeah, you never know. That's how these things work. So congratulations, Antonio.
Thank you,
Good
thank you
race.
guys, thank you. Yeah, good one.
Last to join us is so we did often get to speak to Chris Montgomery. Joins us now, winner in Spec 2. Chris, what a result!
Well, thank you. It's my first win, so I'm pretty happy about it.
It is indeed a solid one as well. Inside the top 10, and your next nearest competitor who finished second in class was Fernandez, all the way down in 15th, so some 6 spots behind you.
Yeah, we were pretty tight for the first 15 minutes or so, and I was really trying to keep him. He got a good run on me when I kind of screwed up in the last turn, and he made a good run. I had to get defensive, but after that I was able to open it up and kind of gapped, and then I had a pretty good gap when I came out of the pit. So
and knowing how far down he was for yourself, it's just all about just playing it safe and just ticking off the laps one by one.
Yeah, I got kind of lonely there, so I was just trying to keep a good buffer. When I came out of the pits, I had Tom about 3 seconds behind me, and I just kept trying to hit that mark of keeping him that same distance, and that's what I kind of kept riding that and trying not to mess up. I had a couple little hiccups here and there just to keep it exciting, but nothing catastrophic, thankfully.
Well, with this first one, ticked off, many more to come this season.
We can only hope so. We'll see.
Well, hopefully we'll get to speak to you a few more times this season. Chris, congratulations. Winner in Spec 2 here today at round 2 from Oulton Park.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Oh, that is all we've got time for the moment. Coming up in about 40 minutes' time, we head to Australia and Phillip Island, to be precise. That's the magic of sim racing, while myself and Charles will be heading down there. Smooley will be heading off and have his dinner and get some sleep like a normal person. And well, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations to our winner, Chris Montgomery, first time winner, Overstreet Pit Strategy Extraordinaire against the dominant Kambanka. Well, Antonio Race, he's always there or thereabouts. Thanks very much for joining us. I've been Tim Cox, Charles Bashal, and Smooley Kumo. We'll see you shortly for SRFs, and if not, we'll see you in a week's time when we head to VIR, Virginia International Raceway. See you then.